We had no idea what was happening. There was no script. In fact, we finally did our wrap party after the project was like a year and a half old, and one of the things we made for Harry on the wrap party was the script. We actually went back, got all the pieces of paper, Fiona and somebody, and they put all the script, all the day shoots together, bound it and said, actually, here's the script. So the last thing to arrive was the script. It was complete antithesis to every other project. So as an actor, you could never sit down and go, I see my character's journey. You could never plot it. All you could do was respond to the script that you were given on the day and just do that. And when we tried to quiz Harry on what was happening next, and he just wouldn't tell you. I mean, sometimes I think he genuinely had no idea. Harry had me pegged quite well as the sort of the sad clown. There's this wonderful melancholy to who Ant was, in so much as well, it's, you know, I say he's epiphany-less, but he would get things eventually, and as they came upon him, it was this sort of this sad cloud. You know, it was sort of like, I'm just thinking about it. It was sort of like stop, and the dust cloud of life would slowly envelop him, and slowly he would sort of realise that he had gone the wrong way, and there was this great melancholy to him, which I really loved, because it made him so much more rich than just a bumbling idiot, for me anyway. There was an amazing moment in one of the Xenas where we were trying to shoot this sort of riot, and this whole village was being burnt to death, but we had sort of 8 extras, long lens, so we're all just sort of stacked up, and it's deep in the smoke and people running backwards and forwards. And the reality of it, we're a hot sunny day in Henderson, and there's 8 people running back, you know, run back, going, ah! And there's some dude just at a shot with smoke and stuff. As an environment, it was all pretty silly, and the extras started to sort of lose it and be a bit slack. And I remember Lucy, she turned round to them, and she didn't reprimand anyone. She knew that it was all sort of coming apart a bit, and they weren't getting it. And she said, and she just sort of rocked everyone up and said, yeah, come on, this is going to be amazing. And she went down and she spoke to people, and she didn't make a huge effort, but she drew them in. And the next take, where everyone was just rocking into it and amazing, and it was in that I went, yeah, you know, she was a star. She was protecting her product, but she was also being incredibly inclusive and generous. And those people at lunch, they sat with us and sat, you know, the actors, and you know, they were just, you know, panel beaters from Henderson who were earning $300 in a free lunch. But we're all part of the same gang then, and she's, you know, and she did that work to draw everybody together on the work, and it was a cool thing to see. I initially was only cast for 3 months, and then they extended it to 6 months, and then they extended it to a year, and you know, so it grew slowly, and it was never told you're going to be in the core cast for next 2 years or whatever. So looking back on it, I think I probably could have committed to being in that place a bit more, because there's definitely the 2 different things. There's the product that ends up on screen, which is what the general public consume, and then there's the weird day-to-day thing of working every day and being part of that machine, which is very all-consuming. You know, the whole household had to change everything about, because it becomes the #1 priority that happens not only in my life, but in my partner's life, as in my kids' lives, because you just, you know, I remember in the first week getting a call from Damon going, oh, do you think you could get in here about an hour earlier because we're up? Oh, I've got these things to do, and I was going to go and do that. And then he sort of laughed and went, sorry. I couched that as a question, didn't I? You need to come in an hour earlier because we're up. I was like, right, okay. My life has now been committed to this machine. When I was there, I was just saying to myself, take this in, because chances of you ever being anywhere near anything like this again, you know, this is it. This is, you know, be lovely if it does happen again, but man, this is the shit. It was just incredible. You know, the Hercules and Xena, they would make castles, but if you walked up close, you could see that they were polystyrene. everything was done perfectly down to the last, just everything, you know. I went to costume fitting, came in on set, and they went, oh, yeah, we'll give them a cape. They gave me a cape, and they were there, and Nyla Dixon's like, oh, we'll line the inside of that with velvet. And I went, oh, shit, okay, really? And I came in the next day, and they put on the costume, and I had this cape, and honestly, you take one step, and it just filled up with air, like, and made that sound, you know. And your spine goes up, and you just, wow. And they gave me the sword. Never drew it, there was nothing in the script. But if you did draw the sword, and it was like made for my character, the hilt was different to every other person's sword. If you draw it, it just made that and sort of made that noise, you know, without even any post-production on it. Just amazing. Bogan's was a fantastic project. I just love it. We made it for $800. It was Peter Tate's idea. He'd been hitching down from Northland, and he got picked up by these Bogans. It's like, oh, you're an actor, oh yeah, that Lord of the Rings thing, I might go and have a go at that. And he basically wrote the script around this idea. So he wrote this great script, and then we went, well, let's do it as a pilot, you know, because we pitched it actually as a pilot for a TV series and wrote all these other sort of breakdowns. But we just sort of kept going, wouldn't it be great? And wouldn't it be amazing if Peter Jackson was in the end? And it just sort of kept on growing. And so we ended up with this fantastic cast, and it was just pure, it was so much fun. It was just hilarious. Grant, the Hood, had been working with him on something. He'd been helping him out on, I think, on Combination or something like that. As he does, you know, he just helps people out. And so we shot it all, and we wrote 2 endings, the Peter Jackson ending and the other one, and Grant did a whole edit, and then like left a bit that said, Peter Jackson goes here. And he went to Wellington, was happening to go to Wellington, and he phoned up Peter and said, actually, I've got this weird thing, and showed him the video, and he said, Peter said, yeah, sure, have you got your camera? And they just quite literally rocked out of the offices at Miramar, went down to the local dairy, and shot this little pickup shot, and we took it back and stuck it in our movie. And there he was, cameo in our movie. It was just hilarious. Fiona made a lot of point in sort of saying that George was not a victim. You know, he got chat on by Kate, but you know, was disappointed by that. But it's not his whole life. You know, he was an older man. He had his shit together. He had a whole life. You know, and he knew the risks of. She was crazy, man. You know, she was out of it and but he took her on, and then it didn't work out, and he spoke his mind, and then he could see her. You know, he was never a victim in any of it, which was great, because it was an important thing to keep running through my head as I, you know, I get jilted on the wedding night and all that sort of stuff. There's comedy in that, but he retained his dignity, and it was a subtly different way of playing another clown role. And I have to say that I just loved the bit where he comes, you know, we'd been reading the manuscript overnight, and he comes in, and it still gives me tingles, you know, because it was like, in an American movie, it would have been handled with, you know, there would have been, somehow they would have turned it into a scene where there's this, she reads a manuscript in this crowd full of people, and one person starts the, you know, and by the end, 1,000 people are all on there. It had that feel to it, but in this very genteel Victorian way.